Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Coming up in the next hour. Former Indian Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh's mortal remains en route at the AICC headquarters in New Delhi. Last rites today with a state funeral at 11:45 a.m. Indian Standard Time. Houthis claim new attacks on Israel after strikes hit Yemen airport. Germany's president dissolves parliament, snap elections on February 23rd next year. Cold wave conditions intensify in several parts of North India as upper Himalayan region receives fresh snowfall. The last rites of former Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh, who passed away on Thursday, will be conducted with state honours at 11:45 a.m. Indian Standard Time at the Nigambodh Ghat crematorium in national capital on Saturday. The mortal remains of Dr. Singh has left from his resident 3 Motilal Nehru Marg for All India Congress Committee headquarters. The mortal remains will be kept at the Congress office for an hour approximately for the people and Congress workers to pay their obeisance. His final journey will commence from the headquarters to the cremation ground at around 9:30 a.m. Indian Standard Time. Dr. Manmohan Singh, who was also known as the architect of India's economic liberalization, passed away on Thursday night at the age of 92. He breathed his last at AIIMS New Delhi Emergency Ward after being in critical condition. Dr. Manmohan Singh retired from the Rajya Sabha in April 2024. Despite his age-related illness, Dr. Singh attended some sessions of Parliament in a wheelchair, a rare display of dedication by the 92-year-old economic strategist. As a look at the life and times of late Dr. Manmohan Singh.
Manmohan Singh, a pioneering economic administrator, statesman, and India's third longest-serving Prime Minister, passed away at the age of 92. A towering figure in India's public life, his remarkable journey from humble beginnings to shaping the nation's economic and political landscape will be remembered for generations to come. Born on the 26th of September in the year 1932 in a village in Punjab province of undivided India, Singh excelled in studies despite limited resources. He won a place at Cambridge University before heading to Oxford, earning a doctorate with a thesis on the role of exports and free trade in India's economy. His book, India's Export Trends and Prospects for Self-Sustained Growth, was an early critique of India's inward-oriented trade policy. His academic credentials were burnished by his years on the faculty of Punjab University and the prestigious Delhi School of Economics. In the year 1971, Singh joined the Government of India as an economic advisor in the Commerce Ministry. This was soon followed by his appointment as the Chief Economic Advisor in the Ministry of Finance in 1972. Among the many governmental positions that Manmohan Singh occupied were the Secretary in the Ministry of Finance, Deputy Chairman of the Planning Commission, Governor of the Reserve Bank of India, Advisor of the Prime Minister, and Chairman of the University Grants Commission. He was nominated to the Rajya Sabha for the first time by the Congress Party in October 1991, 4 months after he became the Union Finance Minister. He represented Assam for 5 terms in the Rajya Sabha and shifted to Rajasthan in 2019, his last term that ended in April this year. He was the Prime Minister for 2 successive terms. One of the biggest highlights of Singh's regime was securing the India-US Civil Nuclear Agreement that opened up civilian nuclear cooperation. Manmohan Singh led the UPA government delivered about 8.5% GDP growth. The 2 UPA regimes led by Manmohan Singh are credited with the launch of social welfare initiatives such as guaranteed job schemes, Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee, and the right to education for every child. Dr. Manmohan Singh's years as Prime Minister were, however, marred with scams, like 2G, CWG, and coal block allocations. Despite the late hiccups, Singh's image as a clean leader remained untarnished. He will be remembered as the architect of India's tryst with economic liberalization and sustained economic growth. Bureau Report, DD India.
And leaders from across the world continue to express grief over the demise of Dr. Manmohan Singh, recognizing his significant role in India's economic reforms and international relations. Right from Russian President Vladimir Putin to Prime Minister of Mauritius visited the Port Louis and signed the condolence book opened in memory of Dr. Manmohan Singh, former Prime Minister of India. DD India's Abhishek Bose brings us this report.
India's President Draupadi Murmu and Prime Minister Narendra Modi led the nation in bidding adieu to former Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh. PM Modi said India will always remember his contributions to the nation.
एक अर्थशास्त्री के रूप में उन्होंने अलग अलग स्तर पर भारत सरकार में अनेक सेवाएं दी। एक चुनौतीपूर्ण समय में उन्होंने रिजर्व बैंक के गवर्नर की भूमिका निभाई। पूर्व प्रधानमंत्री भारत रत्न श्री पीवी नरसिम्हा राव जी की सरकार के वित्त मंत्री रहते हुए उन्होंने वित्तीय संकट से घिरे देश को एक नई अर्थव्यवस्था के मार्ग पर प्रशस्त किया। प्रधानमंत्री के रूप में देश के विकास में और प्रगति में उनके योगदान को हमेशा याद किया जाएगा।
The demise of Dr. Manmohan Singh, who was also a renowned economist, has drawn condolences and tributes from global leaders. French President Emmanuel Macron called Dr. Singh a great man who devoted his life to India. On social media platform X, Macron said India lost a great man and France a friend. The United States offered condolences on Dr. Manmohan Singh's demise. US Secretary of State Antony Blinken called Dr. Singh one of the greatest champions of the US-India strategic partnership. Notably, Dr. Manmohan Singh played a significant role in advancing the 2007 Civil Nuclear Cooperation Agreement between India and the US. China's foreign ministry expressed condolences over the passing of Dr. Manmohan Singh. China said Singh had made positive contributions to India-China relations. Former Canadian Prime Minister Stephen Harper joined the international chorus of condolences, praising Dr. Singh for his exceptional intelligence, integrity and wisdom. Former Maldivian President Abdullah Shahid shared his condolences. He recalled Dr. Singh's 2011 visit to the Maldives, where he became the first head of state to address the Maldivian parliament. Former Afghan President Hamid Karzai described Dr. Singh as one of India's most illustrious sons and an unwavering ally and friend to the people of Afghanistan. Former Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh will be remembered as a pivotal figure in India's economic transformation and a respected statesman on the international stage. Abhishek Bose for DD India.
And UN Chief General Antonio Guterres also condoled the demise of Dr. Manmohan Singh. Issuing a statement, he said that Mr. Singh played a pivotal role in India's recent history, particularly in shaping its economic trajectory. As Prime Minister from 2004 to 2014, Singh oversaw a period of significant economic growth and development in India. Under his leadership, India also strengthened its collaboration with the United Nations, contributing actively to global initiatives and partnerships. Now, the Union government will allocate space for a memorial dedicated to former Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh. The Union Home Ministry announced on Friday night that the decision has been conveyed to his family and Congress President Mallikarjun Kharge. The Home Ministry also stated that the government received a request from Congress Chief Mallikarjun Kharge to allocate space for the memorial. Following the cabinet meeting, Union Home Minister Amit Shah informed Kharge and Dr. Singh's family about the government's decision to proceed with the allocation. All right, we'll go across to DD India's Anil Thomas is joining us on the phone line from AICC headquarters. Anil, what are the updates from there, from AICC headquarters? Mortal remains of Dr. Singh will reach at the Congress headquarters soon, and then people will start paying tributes?
Well, good morning, Abhishek. Well, that's exactly what is anticipated here. There's this particular place, the AIC headquarters. The last time I remember such a jam-packed situation here was way back in 2009 when the election manifesto of the Congress was released. Then the UPA was released. This particular place has not a single inch to move at this point of time. It's crammed with media and also with all political leaders from the length and breadth of the country here. There at the AICC headquarters to pay their last respects to the departed leader, Dr. Manmohan Singh. And I think this particular place is slowly, just 10 minutes back, the activity was almost minimal here, but the buzz picking up that the mortal remains will soon be reaching the AICC headquarters.
All right. In fact, Anil, we are getting these live visuals now where Dr. Manmohan Singh's mortal remains have reached the AICC headquarters. Where
just entering the gate. Just entering the gate at this point of time, and you see the who's who of the Congress party, right from the leadership at the top to the state leadership there. Every CWC member being present there to pay their respect to the departed leader, Dr. Manmohan Singh, and you can see that the buzz that is being created, especially with regards to every political leader within the Congress wanting to catch a glimpse of the departed leader, clearly leaving no space here for especially media coverage to pick up. It's after a long time that you see this kind of a buzz there in the AICC headquarters, and every leader from the state, center, the CWC here, trying to make way to catch a glimpse of the great leader who's departed.
Anil, do you also want to name the prominent leaders who are there to pay tributes to former Prime Minister, late Dr. Manmohan Singh?
Well, it starts with the Congress President, Mallikarjun Kharge, General Secretaries there, Rahul Gandhi, Priyanka Gandhi. You've got Chief Ministers from various former Chief Ministers from various states, Ashok Kumar Gehlot. You've got Sushil Kumar Shinde from Maharashtra. Then you've got other senior leaders like Salman Khurshid, Chidambaram, V. Narayan Swamy, all there in the AICC headquarters to pay their respects to the leader. Remember, Dr. Manmohan Singh leaves behind a big legacy, for the Congress to learn and also to pick up. And I think this particular mortal remains of Prime Minister reaching the AICC headquarters and the sea of leadership that the Congress has across the country and also in Delhi, clearly they're marking its presence to pay their respects to the departed leader.
Anil, also December 26th to January 1st being observed as a week of national mourning in honor of former Prime Minister. The Congress party also suspended all its official events for the next week. Last rites will be conducted with full state honors at Nigambodh Ghat at around 11:45 a.m.
Well, that's what is anticipated at this point of time. But looking at the people, the rush of people to catch a glimpse of the departed leader, it looks unlikely that things could get a bit delayed by the time they move out. The mortal remains move out of AICC headquarters to the final journey to Nigambodh Ghat. But having said that, this is one of those rare sights that you get to see, especially in the AICC headquarters, where this particular departed leader, the respect that he commands and the legacy that he leaves behind, clearly indicative. The crowd here clearly indicative, not only of the leaders but also of the common man here, clearly indicative of the respect, the trust, and also the memory that people have with the departed leader.
You said the legacy that he leaves behind. Dr. Singh was a path-breaking reformer who ushered in the liberalization era in 1991, ended the Licensed Raj, and also under his leadership several rights-based legislation were enacted by the government. Anil, would you say that he was a man of many legacies?
Well, exactly. If you look at Dr. Manmohan Singh's journey, his journey can be divided into two. One that was pre-1991, the liberalization that he brought about, especially when it comes to opening up the economy, post his 2004 to 2014 stint as a Prime Minister, where he did people-centric schemes and benefits that were introduced, right from the right to information, the Food Security Act, the Land Acquisition Act, the SEZ, the Forest Act for protection for for people in the forest. So when you look at an overall development that he had done for the common man, and to accept the fact that he failed as a prime minister to keep price rise under check, clearly was an admission of the larger role that he had to play, and the advice that he had, especially for how to take the country forward, was something that he always not only preached but also believed that it needs to be done when it comes to the final man standing. And I think his admission there was a clear indication of something that Dr. Singh thought needed to be done that he was not able to achieve. But all in all, if you see, there are if you look at the legacy that he leaves behind, there is immense learning that is there still for the party to pick and for the party to follow. And I think the Prime Minister clearly made a mention about it. And something common about Dr. Manmohan Singh and also Prime Minister Narendra Modi is that they both came from humble backgrounds and they both didn't have any political backgrounds. So they both have at least common threads there, especially when it comes to no political lineage and coming from humble backgrounds and rising to the top. And I think Dr. Manmohan Singh once again clearly leaves that footprint behind of this particular rise, a rise that was slow, but then a rise that was significant, and a rise and a footprint that he leaves behind clearly something for at least the Congress party to pick and to follow.
Anil, also talking about the liberalization that you pointed out, that he believed in the importance of free market, but at the same time he redefined the role of the welfare state. But did he break the long-held belief that economic reforms and social welfare cannot go hand in hand?
Well, exactly. Prime Minister Manmohan Singh, when he was there at the chair, he clearly believed that they both had a role to play and they both could go hand in hand if the management or the jugglery of doing things together could be managed well. And I think that's what helped him succeed to a very large extent. If one takes a look at his career and the journey that he's taken, especially when it comes to the reforms that he thought that could be brought about, And I think somewhere deep down, one also needs to take a look at the plus things that he's done, especially when it comes to not only helping the economy, but also helping the common man. I still very clearly remember that 2008 global recession crisis that the world was facing, and his advice as an economist clearly helping the world, pass through those difficult times, and clear admissions from world leaders about the inputs that the former Prime Minister had given was indicative of the backing and the trust that they had, especially in Dr. Manmohan Singh as an economist, over and above the fact that he was the Prime Minister of India.
Anil, did his steering of the landmark Indo-US nuclear deal also give a glimpse of Dr. Singh, the politician, showing that he knew the art of real politics too?
Well, exactly. That could be one of the biggest highlights, and especially his handling of geopolitics, with our immediate neighbors, was another salient feature of Dr. Manmohan Singh. Many remember him as an economist, but that particular deal that was pulled off in 2008, the civil nuclear deal, clearly was something that, not many believed that could be possible, but then Dr. Manmohan Singh had his own ways of getting things done. Many called him the second in command, even though he was the Prime Minister of the country, but then he believed that, he had his ways of getting things done. And I think that's where somebody who believes in his convictions and somebody who believes that, if it is a well thought move and if it's possible, it needs to be done. He says, if there is a dream, there's no harm in, sometimes you're losing track of the dream, but if you keep continuing to pursue that particular dream, that dream can be achieved. And I think that's where Dr. Manmohan Singh, left an imprint not only for India, I think not only for the next generation, but for also many students of economics for the world to emulate and to follow.
Anil, also condolences pour in from across the world, from Angela Merkel to Barack Obama. We saw his image with Dr. Singh. Blinken too. Obama called him the man of uncommon wisdom and decency. Blinken said that he was one of the greatest champions of India-US strategic partnerships. You think did his tenure as PM also see a turning point in India's foreign policy?
Well, exactly. If you, that's what I said. Many remember him as more as an economist, but his geopolitical cap, that he always wore, not displaying much of the skills, especially on the table, and the way, the 2008 civil nuclear deal, the problems that they faced and the problems, how he overcome those problems, and, running all that, especially in a coalition government where every second day you would have some of the other jitters of running, this kind of unsettled house. I think in the rough world of politics, he made a mark for himself, not because of the fact that, he was leading a coalition government, but the fact that he was able to keep everyone happy and at the same time, be able to do all these things in that 10-year tenure that he had as a Prime Minister, clearly speaks volumes about the man and the work and the mission that he had, especially when he held the chair.
And Anil, this is something that everyone remembers also about Dr. Manmohan Singh, that he really spoke towards the end of his tenure. Two things. One, when he says that history would be kinder to him, and second, that his life and tenure is like an open book. How do you look at these two statements today?
Well, the first one clearly coming through when the late Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh said that history would be kinder to him than the contemporary media, who's at least found every fault with the decision that he's taken, especially in the second tenure as Prime Minister. But then, when at least today when he is no more with us, the tributes that are falling in, the tributes that are coming from all over the world, clearly indicative of the footprint, the imprint that he's had not only on world leaders but also in the minds of economists who have praised his work. And I think that clearly he's called the greatest champion there, when it comes to some of the tributes that people that I was just going through, people who have given tributes to him when they heard about the news about his passing away. But I think the second question that the second thing that you asked, it was a very tough walk, if you ask me. It is not a bed of roses that, the Prime Minister got with coalition dharma and coalition politics in place. And in that case, I think, he did face many hiccups, with regards to the scams and the controversies that followed along with it. But then, he managed to come, at the end of the day as a Prime Minister, if you can come out clean, irrespective of all the controversies and all the troubles that you face, you've left a mark with your work. One, not only that, you've also left a mark, especially with, your image not getting affected, irrespective of how other members in the cabinet have performed. I think he's made a mention about it in the press conference that he's addressed, that, it's many things that are very difficult, that cannot be spoken, that are part of cabinet meetings. But then, walking those tough walks has been one of a learning experience for him in his journey as a Prime Minister of India.
Anil, you spoke about the hiccups, and to take your point further, is it also true that how Dr. Singh was less interested in the inner politics of the Congress and more about the business of running the government?
Well, exactly. Running the government, especially, coalition dharma, as you mentioned, is not an easy job. In today's times, post-2014, we have not been seeing coalition dharma so much into play. But for people who understand coalition dharma and the troubles and the tricky situations that coalition dharma brings about, it is not very easy to do, to run the house, especially with, when your numbers don't match up and you're on a very thin majority.
All right, we'll try to get in touch with my colleague Anil Thomas again, who is at the AICC headquarters. Mortal remains of Dr. Manmohan Singh has reached at the Congress headquarters, and people have started paying tributes to Dr. Manmohan Singh at the AICC headquarters. We are getting you these visuals from Congress headquarters. And then his final journey will start from AICC headquarters, and then state funeral will take place at around 11:45 a.m. at Nigambodh Ghat in New Delhi. Dr. Manmohan Singh, former Prime Minister of India, passed away at 9:51 p.m. on December 26 at All India Institute of Medical Sciences. All right, so Anil Thomas is with us again. Anil, Dr. Manmohan Singh's Shairi banter with Sushma Swaraj also doing the rounds on social media. What kind of a person was he off the floor?
Well, not many know Prime Minister Manmohan Singh was a very in your face, to the point, and generally very soft-spoken guy. He was shy, especially in the world of politics. If one may say, you got to be camera friendly. He rather let his work do the talking. Somebody who believed that his work should do the talking rather than he, making a splash as and when needed. He would be a very reluctant politician, and one remembers the movie The Accidental Prime Minister as a reference point. But clearly, he always preferred to rather not take the limelight, And I think that's something that stood out even during the civil nuclear deal. Although the Prime Minister, Manmohan Singh, was considered to be the biggest politician to pull that off. He always preferred to be in the shadows and rather believe that it was a collective move by the government that helped the government save the blushes then. And I think that's something that stands out. You did make a mention about the Jugalbandi or the Urdu couplets that were exchanged between Sushma Swaraj, then the leader of the opposition, and the late Prime Minister Manmohan Singh. But that's exactly where Manmohan Singh stood out. Manmohan Singh knew at point of times how to get into, and I think if you replay that particular moment in Parliament, that entire session that took place and the discussion that's followed, it's actually a symphony in play. It's enjoyable to see how the leader of the opposition and the Prime Minister there, the verbal alterations that they had, at the end of the day, both were left smiling. I think that's a wonderful memory that, both world leaders would have. The late Sushma Swaraj also now not with us, and now with the passing away of Manmohan Singh, I think they both left an imprint that is there and will be always etched in the memories of all those who followed Parliament and all those who followed politics in India and the world.
Anil, some of his policies have come to define what modern India is. But there were moments when the former Prime Minister defended himself when he was labelled as a silent Prime Minister.
Well, exactly. There were, I remember that particular moment that you're talking about clearly in the press conference that he addressed there, and he was asked a direct question. It was not even a question, it was a straightforward question that how did he manage, and, did he, many a times there are questions that you're not the one taking the call, somebody else is taking the call. All these questions that were raised at that point of time. I think the best part about Dr. Manmohan Singh was he never let those questions affect him. And he kept his chin up, especially when it comes to taking on the media. Though many called him a prime minister who didn't speak much, but then when it comes to facing the media and when it comes to taking those tough questions, I think he stands out with his answers and with the elegance and simplicity that he brought to the table. He didn't keep confusing the media with too many things, but then he kept it very straight and simple, especially when it comes to the work that he has done, and he believed his work could do the talking rather than him doing the talking. And I think that's where Dr. Manmohan Singh lives a bigger footprint and a bigger imprint on what he did for India and what he did as a statesman.
Anil, also often referred to as gentleman of Indian politics. People remember him as the economist politician, steered India through very challenging times, like you also mentioned, particularly the liberalization period as well. But there was so much more to what he did.
Well, when one takes a look at the journey that he's had, way back from 1972 to 2024 April, which was his last tenure as as a member of Rajya Sabha there from Rajasthan. He clearly, in every tenure, even when he was in the opposition, not many remember him as a leader of Rajya Sabha when during the Vajpayee government, when he was the leader of the opposition in the upper house. And, the exchanges that he had with the government then, he always preferred, rather his style of working to be a role or a lesson for others to follow and to emulate. He never believed in doing the heavy lifting, especially when it comes to things that needed to be done or things that needed to be said or things that needed to be conveyed and that needed to be get done. I think he himself set an example when it comes to the work that needed to be done. There was no mincing words when it comes to even the civil nuclear deal. One takes the civil nuclear deal and the tough journey that the government faced during those times. But I think it was a learning example on he not only being a great administrator, a great bureaucrat, but also a great statesman. The way he went about clinching that particular deal and the difficulties that the government faced, especially when it comes to finishing those unfinished tasks that was there before the government at that point of time.
Yes, his passing away is a significant loss to Indian politics and economics. Thank you for the time being, Anil. Yes, we'll keep coming back to you. We are slipping into a very short break. On the other side, more stories. Keep watching DD India News Hour.
2024, the year the world woke up to climate's harsh realities and powerful progress. Let's explore the stories that shaped the year 2024. The Amazon, the parts of the North America burned brighter than ever this year. With wildfire and catastrophic weather on the rise, are we prepared for what's next? India's energy transition is inspiring the world. As we wrap up, it's clear that 2024 has been a year of immense climate challenges, but also of remarkable progress.
You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Headlines again. Former Indian Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh's mortal remains kept at AICC headquarters, followed by state funeral at 11:45 a.m. Indian Standard Time. Houthis claim new attacks on Israel after strikes hit Yemen airport. Germany's president dissolves parliament, snap elections on February 23rd next year. Cold wave conditions intensify in several parts of North India as upper Himalayan region receives fresh snowfall. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar, who is currently on an official visit to the US, where he met with the officials of Indian Embassy and consul generals in US and discussed opportunities for deepening partnership focusing on technology, trade and investments. In 2 days conference with them, he also shared views on better serving the Indian community in the USA. The minister also met US Representative Mike Waltz, had wide-ranging conversation on bilateral partnership as well as current global issues. Mike Waltz is Trump's pick for National Security Advisor. The minister also met US Secretary of State Antony Blinken. Both the leaders reviewed the advancement of India-US partnership over the last 4 years, agreed that the cooperation has strengthened in many domains just as the comfort levels have grown correspondingly. Both showed confidence that India-US relationship will serve mutual interests as well as global good. As tensions in West Asia escalate, Houthis have claimed to attack against Israel in retaliation to the airstrikes that hit the international airport in Sana'a and other targets in Yemen. Houthis fired a missile at Ben Gurion Airport outside Tel Aviv and launched drones at the city as well as a ship in the Arabian Sea. Whereas Israel's military reported that a missile launched from Yemen had been intercepted before crossing into Israeli territory, Houthis have stepped up their attacks against Israel since late last month when a ceasefire took effect between Israel and Hezbollah. According to Houthi Transport Ministry, flights from Sana'a airport resumed at 10 a.m. yesterday. Despite the damage, the Israeli strikes on Thursday landed as the head of the World Health Organization said he and his team were preparing to fly out from Sana'a, injuring a UN crew member. The strikes left the top of the control tower. A bombed-out shell and large windows in the airport building were shattered, with glass littering the ground. Meanwhile, the top UN official for humanitarian aid in Yemen, who narrowly dodged an aerial bombing raid by Israel on Sana'a airport, denies that the facility had any military purpose.
The airstrikes landed approximately 300 meters away from where Director General Tedros was and myself. There was one airstrike approximately 300 meters to the south of us and about another airstrike about 300 meters to the north of us. What was most frightening about that airstrike wasn't the effect on us, is that the airstrikes took place as a civilian airliner from Yemen carrying hundreds of Yemenis was about to land. And in fact, that airliner from Yemen was landing, taxiing in when the air traffic control was destroyed. Fortunately, that plane was able to land safely.
The World Health Organization received a shipment of 50 tons of medical supplies at Turkey's Istanbul International Airport to support thousands of people in Syria. This shipment is expected to support 8,000 emergency surgeries and provide 30,000 pouches for infusions, ensuring hospitals are equipped to handle critical cases. With over 15 million people in need of healthcare due to over a decade of conflict, WHO's ongoing efforts to deliver trauma supplies, essential medicines and mental health treatments continue to assist the most vulnerable populations, including women, children and displaced people. The UN Assistance Mission in Afghanistan, or UNAMA, said it received credible reports that dozens of civilians, including women and children, were killed in airstrikes by Pakistan's military forces in eastern Paktika province. In a statement by UNAMA, international law obliges military forces to take necessary precautions to prevent civilian harm, including distinguishing between civilians and combatants in operations. It demanded an investigation into the strikes to ensure accountability, prevent recurrence and uphold victims' rights. Meanwhile, Pakistan has confirmed that it carried out airstrikes inside Afghanistan that killed terrorists. Rain swept through Delhi, leading to a drop in temperatures and intensifying the ongoing cold wave conditions. The India Met Department has predicted severe cold wave conditions, resulting in dense fog in parts of Uttarakhand, Himachal Pradesh, Haryana, Delhi NCR and Chandigarh on Saturday. It also stated that parts of Uttar Pradesh, Haryana and eastern Rajasthan will receive thunderstorms and hailstorm on Saturday. The Met Department has also issued a yellow alert for Delhi till 30th December as light to moderate rainfall is expected during this period. Delhi has received the highest December rainfall this year as compared to the past 15 years. The maximum temperature of the national capital also dropped to 9.5 degrees Celsius. Time for some other news. In a tragic mishap, 8 passengers were killed and dozens injured when a bus crashed into a bridge and fell into a drain in the northern Indian state of Punjab on Friday. Authorities rescued 46 passengers and the injured were taken to nearby hospitals. The cause of the accident is still under investigation. The Indian Army's Chinnar warriors evacuated 68 tourists stranded in Gulmarg, a northern Union territory, Jammu and Kashmir, due to heavy snowfall and road closures. They also provided hot meals, shelter and medical assistance to 137 people, including 30 women and 8 children. The Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky on Friday said North Korean troops deployed in Russia's Kursk region are suffering heavy losses as they are sent with minimal protection and being left unprotected by the Russian forces they are fighting alongside.
We see that neither the Russian military nor the North Korean overseas have any interest in assuring the survival of these North Koreans. Everything is set up so that it is impossible for us to capture them. There are instances where they are executed by their own forces. Russians send them into assaults with minimal protection. Today, reports came in regarding a few North Korean soldiers. Our troops managed to take them captive, but they were severely wounded, and it was not possible to save their lives.
A deepening political crisis in South Korea has not diminished the military readiness of 28,500 troops stationed in the Asian state, but Washington is closely monitoring the situation. The United States has troops stationed in South Korea as a legacy of the 1950-1953 Korean War. After the martial law declaration this month, the US and South Korea had postponed a tabletop exercise, and US Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin scrapped a trip to South Korea. The unexpected imposition of martial law and the ensuing political upheaval drew concerns from the allies in the US and Europe, who had seen Yoon as a partner in efforts to counter China, Russia and North Korea. German President Frank-Walter Steinmeier dissolved the lower house of parliament, clearing the way for snap elections on February 23rd after the collapse of Chancellor Olaf Scholz's coalition government. Scholz lost a confidence vote earlier this month following the departure of the Free Democrats, leaving his government without a majority. Meanwhile, Conservative challenger Friedrich Merz has launched his campaign accusing Scholz's administration of stifling growth with excessive regulations. US President-elect Donald Trump has requested the US Supreme Court to put a halt on implementation of a law that would ban popular social media app TikTok or force its sale. Trump's argument was that he would have time after taking office to pursue a political resolution to this vexed issue. The court is set to hear arguments in the case on January 10 next year. The law would require TikTok's Chinese owner ByteDance to sell the platform to an American company or face a ban. The US Congress voted in April to ban it unless ByteDance sells the app by January 19. Trump's support for TikTok is a reversal from 2020 when he tried to block the app in the United States and force its sale to American companies because of his Chinese ownership. Meanwhile, Trump spoke with TikTok CEO after asking Supreme Court to pause ban on the social media. Senior members of Canada's cabinet held talks with US President-elect Donald Trump's nominees to lead the Departments of Commerce and the Interior as Ottawa works to hold off the threat of punishing tariffs. Canada's newly appointed Finance Minister Dominic LeBlanc and Foreign Minister Melanie Joly met with Howard Lutnick, Trump's Commerce Secretary nominee, who will also lead the country's tariff and trade agenda. Trump has vowed to impose crippling 25% tariffs on all Canadian imports when he takes office next month. He has said they will remain in place until Canada addresses the flow of undocumented migrants and the drug fentanyl into the United States. Wall Street stocks stumbled on Friday as major companies saw their shares fall towards the end of a holiday week. The Dow Jones Industrial Average lost 0.8%, while the broad-based S&P 500 slid 1.1%, whereas the tech-heavy Nasdaq Composite Index plunged 1.5%. Major companies in particular saw their shares fall, with Microsoft slipping 1.7%, Amazon lost 1.4%, while Nvidia dropped 2.0%. NASA announced on Friday that its Parker solar probe is safe and operating normally after successfully completing the closest ever approach to the Sun by any human-made object. On December 24th, the spacecraft flew within 3.8 million miles of the Sun's surface, entering the corona, the Sun's outer atmosphere. The operations team at Johns Hopkins Applied Physics Laboratory in Maryland received a beacon signal from the probe just before midnight on Thursday. The spacecraft is set to send detailed telemetry data about its status on January 1st.
Today we got back very late at night. Last night about 11:50 p.m. Eastern time. We got back a green beacon from the Parker Solar Probe spacecraft indicating that it successfully completed humanity's closest approach to a star, closest ever flyby to the Sun. And really just an amazing achievement. We were able to actually fly through the upper atmosphere of the corona of the Sun, which is just an amazing thing if you think about it.
Indians have broken all records in terms of U.S. visas. The U.S. Embassy said that the U.S. mission in India issued more than 1 million non-immigrant visas for the second consecutive year in 2024. And this includes a record number of tourist visas. And this number reflects the growing demand for travel from India to the U.S., especially for tourism, business and education purposes. According to the U.S. Embassy in India, the number of tourists from India has increased fivefold in the last 4 years. and more than 2 million Indians travelled to the US in the first 11 months of 2024, an increase of 26% compared to the same period in 2023. India achieved an important milestone in 2024 by becoming the country sending the most international students to the US for the first time since the 2008-9 academic year. This year, the number of Indian students studying in the US was more than 331,000. India remained the largest source of international graduate students for the second year in a row. Number of Indian graduate students grew by 19%, reaching nearly 200,000 students. In addition, many exchange visitors will now be allowed to stay in US for up to 2 years after completing their programs, giving them more opportunities to advance their careers and education. Moving further, the death toll from a bridge collapse in northern Brazil rose to 10 on Friday. The Juscelino de Oliveira bridge, which links the states of Maranhão and Tocantins, collapsed on Sunday, causing vehicles and the passengers to fall into the water below. The Brazilian Navy had been conducting rescues in the area, finding an additional body from the accident site on Friday in the Tocantins River. The Navy stated that there are 10 dead and 7 missing victims so far. More than 70 rescuers continued the search nearly a week after the collapse. The causes of the collapse were being investigated. Still to come on this edition of DD India News Hour. Birth anniversary of Ratan Tata, a philanthropist who touched and changed millions of lives.
This year, the world of sports gave unforgettable moments that will forever echo in the halls of glory. From Paris Olympics 2024 to India's trailblazing success at the Paralympics, chess prodigy Gukesh conquering the world. India ended a long way to bring home the T20 World Cup glory. And on the European stage, Spain proved their dominance yet again. Relive the drama, the triumphs and the passion that defined Sports Saga 2024.
You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Sports updates now. We'll start with cricket. India's Nitish Kumar, Reddy and Washington Sundar steadied the ship for India with a 100-run partnership on day 3 of the 4th Border Gavaskar Trophy Test match being played at Melbourne Cricket Ground. Nitish brought up his half-century and scored some quick runs along with Washington Sundar to bring the trail under 150 before umpires stopped play due to bad light. Light drizzle has forced early tea on day 3. India finished the second session with 326 runs on the board with Nitish Kumar on the cusp of a century. Earlier in first session, Australia's Scott Boland dismissed Rishabh Pant while Nathan Lyon took the wicket of Ravindra Jadeja. On day 2, India bowled out Australia for 474 in the first innings. Talking about Pakistan versus South Africa game, debutant fast bowler Corbin Bosch took South Africa to a 90-run lead on the second day of the first test match against Pakistan in Centurion on Friday. South Africa were bowled out for 301 in reply to Pakistan's 211 in the first innings. Bosch, batting at number 9, hit an attacking 81 unbeaten. He also took 4 wickets earlier. In their second innings, Pakistan were 88 for the loss of 3 wickets at the close of play. South Africa need to win one of the 2 match series against Pakistan to reach the World Test Championship final at Lord's in June next year. Badminton now. India's top-ranked men's shuttler Lakshya Sen stormed into the semi-finals of the King Cup International Badminton Open 2024 after beating Hong Kong's Angus Kalong on Friday. Lakshya, ranked 12th in the world, defeated world number 17 with a 10-21, 21-13, 21-13 scoreline. This was Lakshya's first win over Angus and Kalong in 4 meetings. The 2 players last encountered at the Malaysia Masters in 2023, which Angus won 21-14, 21-19. In the semis on Saturday, Lakshya will face off against 18-year-old Chinese youngster Hu Zhe-an. Badminton to football now. Arsenal forward Bukayo Saka is said to be sidelined for more than 2 months after an operation on a hamstring injury. Saka has scored 5 goals and had 10 assists in the league this season. The 23-year-old was forced off in Arsenal's match against Crystal Palace earlier this month and left the stadium on crutches. In October and November, the England international missed 3 Nation League games as well as Arsenal's league defeat at Bournemouth and their Champions League win over Shakhtar Donetsk due to an injury to the same leg. Continuing with soccer, Arsenal climbed to second in the Premier League after a hard-fought 1-0 victory over Ipswich Town at the Emirates Stadium. Arsenal's Kai Havertz converted Leonardo Trossard's cross in the 23rd minute to help his team edge past Ipswich. Arsenal dominated the first half while Ipswich showed ambition in second. However, Ipswich Town could not find a way past Arsenal's solid defence led by William Saliba and Gabriel. With this win, second-place Arsenal preserved their unbeaten home record in the league this season. And today, we remember the life and legacy of Ratan Tata, a visionary leader, philanthropist and iconic figure in Indian industry. DD India pays tribute to the former Tata Group chairman on his birth anniversary.
Born on 28 December 1937 in Mumbai, Ratan Tata's journey was marked by adversity and resilience. He took over as chairman of the Tata Group in 1991 and transformed it into a global conglomerate. One of his most ambitious projects was the Tata Nano, the world's cheapest car, aimed at making the dream of a four-wheeler accessible to millions of Indians. Under his leadership, Tata Group made strategic acquisitions including Jaguar and Land Rover, catapulting Tata Motors into the global luxury vehicle market. The group also expanded its presence worldwide with the acquisition of British tea firm Tetley and Anglo-Dutch steel maker Corus. In 2004, Ratan Tata took Tata Consultancy Services public, encouraging investments in technology stocks during uncertain times. His impact extended beyond business as he nurtured India's startup ecosystem, supporting successful ventures like Paytm, Ola, Lenskart, Urban Company and many more. Ratan Tata's philanthropic efforts touched millions of lives. He established a network of cancer hospitals, including the Tata Memorial Hospital, which provides free cancer treatment to thousands of patients every year. His resilience shone brightly during the 2008 Mumbai terror attacks, when the iconic Taj Mahal Palace Hotel, a Tata property, was targeted. Ratan Tata played a key role in the rebuilding and recovery efforts. He pledged lifelong support to affected families. Beyond his professional accomplishments, Ratan Tata was known for his love of dogs and advocacy for animal welfare. His contributions earned global recognition. In 2008, he received the Padma Vibhushan, the second highest civilian honor in India. Ratan Naval Tata passed away at the age of 86 on October 9, 2024. His vision, values and achievements will continue to inspire generations to come. Abhishek Bose for DD India.
Well, that's all for this edition of DD India News Hour, but do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. And we'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Abhishek Mahajan from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India News Hour.